You found product market fit, but now the systems are cracking. The team needs you for everything. Growth feels like quicksand. The more you move, the deeper it pulls you in. This is the scaling paradox, where founders and operators come to get unstuck. I'm Blake Moseni, and I sit down with founders and operators that nearly burnt out and rebuilt their business to operate without them. If you're stuck in the middle, this is where we fix it. So excited to have you on, Phoenix Ha, the CEO and co-founder of AdBeacon. We have some spectacular stuff we're going to be talking about today. Phoenix has a whole host of experience in D2C space. She's going to tell us all about herself, but really, she's been building SaaS for a while now.
So those were some things we're like, okay, we're doing pretty well. Like, people were happy. We had all these brands come on board. And at the time, I would say we were 80% brands, 20% agencies, and we weren't growing.
Now, before we get into any of those details for the listeners, would be interested in hearing just your overall VC pitch for AdBeacon and a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so I'm going to come out disruptive right off the bat. First of all, thank you for having me. Love to be here. You gave me my title, which is CEO and co-founder of AdBeacon, but the best title is I'm your cousin. So a lot of people don't know this, but Chose Moseni, which is your cousin, which is also you might okay, right? We didn't find out we were cousins until a year ago, which is crazy. I had him on my podcast, didn't know that we were a family. Easy synergy right off the bat. Easy synergy with you, and we're all family. So funny little story.
Small world.
So before I go into myself, you asked me what my VC pitch would be, and I am going to rattle the cages right off the bat on your podcast. I am not VC backed. We are bootstrapped completely, and we did this on purpose. I went to
Love that.
Yeah, I love it too. I know a lot of people scratch their heads. How do you survive in SaaS? And I have a very different methodology. I don't like to chase carrots. It's kind of like dating. You're chasing the carrot, and you never get any headway. You have to be exclusive, and you have to have proof of concept, right? Which is like self-work. So I'm married now, but I have a lot of friends that are single, and what are they doing? They're constantly like going on these dating apps and volume versus quality and no self-work. And for me, I'm like, I want self-work until I get to a part where maybe I do want to be VC back, but I need proof of concept. So we are bootstrapped. Like I said, we are profitable in 2 years. And it's been kind of a crazy, wild story, and I'm happy to share that. If I were to do a pitch of AdBeacon, right, which could be the VC backing, sure, I would say if your SaaS tools aren't making you more money, or saving you money, throw it in the trash. Get rid of it. And that is the mentality we've had at AdBeacon since day one. And everything that we do in the attribution space is to do two things: make you more money and save you more money. And all the things that encompass that have to have validity behind ads or validity behind data, et cetera. And usually people are intrigued there. And then I go, yeah, of course we do attribution, and we're disruptive in this way. We cut through the bullshit in this way. And this is the ecosystem and what I foresee in the next 5 to 20 years. And we have to adapt in real time as long as it hits those two pillars: making you more money and saving you more money. So not a VC pitch, but a little taste. Yeah, there.
I absolutely love that. And I think what I appreciate most about that is it really just cuts to the customer need and the customer want. It's like it's top line and it's bottom line. Like we're no nice visuals or anything like that. It's just we are going to help you become a more healthy organization.
Right. And it's like, don't look at my sparkly hand here, and then forget about.
I love that.
Yeah. So a little background on me, and we'll go straight into all the questions because I really love the brief that you sent over. But I was a model turned media buyer, and a lot of people are like, wait, how does that work? And I loved being behind the scenes and learning about supply chain and all of that in the warehousing side, all the way to runway and billboard and being in the front. But I wanted to use my brain, and I wanted to take it to the next level. So I went to college, and then through college went to a creative agency, and that was during the creative agency boom. That was when it took over. So I had the opportunities of getting my hands dirty and launching Impossible Foods, working with Nike for the Lunar Charge launch, and working with Keen directly, all these really big brands. at a
Mm,
really young age. And then got
sure.
swooped up by Supra Footwear, where I was in brand, so in house. And they were bought out by K Swiss Global Brands. So I worked with K Swiss, Supra, Otzi, Palladium, all these really cool brands, and just got a breath of it. And we got really gritty, where in the marketing department, we were doing like activations and things and trying to figure out ways to sell out product in the cheapest way possible, right? We had budget, but we were still scrappy and we figured it out. So without even a dollar in ad spend, we were selling out Modelo and Supra shoe collaborations within minutes and small artists
Mm,
and doing all these really cool activations. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to get really high on my ego and I'm going to leave and do things on my own. And I did
mm,
that and fell on my face. And it was great. But I worked with small businesses after the other business that I had fell. And it was actually through a tragedy. There was a shooting at a bar. And I'm giving you,
oh my
yeah,
gosh.
I'm giving you a really quick synopsis of the kind of craziness in my life. But again, fast forward, I get this LinkedIn application for a paid media position. And at the time, I was paid
Mm,
search. I was like, sick. They're teaching me how, or they're paying me to search things like
mm-hmm,
easy, not it at all. But I came in as entry level in 2020 and became so
mm,
obsessive that I became the director of paid social and organic social within a year. And
mm,
from there, multiplied that division quite a bit, priced it higher, gave better quality work, really combed through best practices and how the org should be. Worked my way out of
sure.
that, and then iOS 14 had hit. And when iOS 14 had hit, I was like, oh, who's pivoting and how are you pivoting? And I was doing this out loud, and no one answered.
Mm,
Everyone was super scared. So I went on a Facebook Live that changed my life. I went on a live in this little group called AdLeaks, and I was like, "Hey, I saw this article, A/B testing, whatever." And guys, people who are listening, this is a long story, but it has a purpose, I promise. Um, I did this, and immediately Chad White, he messaged me, or actually Chad Wilkins, he was like, "Hey, I want to put you at AdWorld just as kind of like a wild card. We'll see what it is." AdWorld is an online, basically like a seminar slash conference. I ranked number 3 that
sure.
day, up with Seth Godin, Jim Quick. And I was
Mm,
like, what is this? I don't even know. And then my life took off. I was in Dubai speaking about first party data and how to pivot and all this, and still had a problem of tracking. So I tested out my competitors like Triple Whale, Northbeam, Hyros, all them as a consumer. And as much as I realized first party data was the answer, I didn't like the way that these platforms were presenting the data. I just felt like it was a lot of fun numbers, but no action, nothing built for my team.
mm,
So my now business partner and I came together and we built AdBeacon, and that's where we are today. We cut through the noise. That has been always the way we've pushed forward. Cut through, no funding.
mm.
Cut through with our messaging. We cut out the bullshit of view attribution. So there's a little synopsis, long synopsis of me.
I, I love some of the things that you called out from the early days, and it's so much of what founders are going through, which is you're just guessing and you have different hypotheses. I'd like to unpack some of those hypotheses and why they didn't work. So you talked a little bit about trying to price at $99 to start out. Maybe you could go into a little bit more detail as to kind of why you chose that, and also why it wasn't
I
successful.
did a full cost analysis. So like I'm very thorough with what we do and it needs to make sense. So let me just like always preface my decision making and it'll make a lot more sense down the road. If it doesn't make sense to me, I won't do it. And if I do it, it's because I'm testing somebody else's hypothesis, firmly knowing it doesn't make sense. And if it works out, cool, I'm open to testing. But in reality, that's the only success that I've seen in my life is like sticking to my gut and just going. I knew
Sure.
99 wasn't going to make much sense because I think we live in a day and age of hypersaturation. There's a psychology component there where we know that value only comes with a good match and price point, right? Something that is
Mm,
expensive enough for you to value it, but not so expensive that you price yourself out of interest. So
sure.
let's start about the 99. The 99 was cool, but then now you pose the problem of being like a no offense to Cometly, but Cometly or
Mm,
adtrack.io or whatever it may be. They're known in the space of being a cheaper option, but when you're a cheaper
Mm,
option, often you are paired with a not as good option, right? Like
mm,
you're a discounted option that doesn't have all the things we want, but we'll take it and it's good enough.
mm-hmm.
The best media buyers in the space don't want good enough, they need good. They need great. So I didn't want to sit there, and what we did by doing that is we kind of started to sit there, especially because we didn't have funding and we didn't have like massive amounts of spend to get the name out there, etc. Number two is the free trial. This is my favorite case study.
Sure.
Everyone asks us, do you have a free trial? And I'm going to ask you, Blake, how many free trials have you gotten, and how many out of those free trials have you actually ended up becoming a customer of recently in this last year?
Very few. I signed up for a free trial yesterday or the day before and canceled immediately after signing up. So I got my 7 days or a month, whatever the number was, to test out the service, but I'm probably not going to pay
Right.
for it.
Free trials are hyper saturated. So in the beginning, when we did a free trial, we had hundreds of signups. I think only 20 of
Hmm.
them actually logged in.
Hmm.
Okay.
That's
It's
insane.
insane.
Like that's actually insane.
We were like ego heavy and ego high
Mm-hmm.
and use case low. Like, and I'm a
Mm.
firm believer that a platform is only as strong or as only as valuable as its usage. So,
I agree with you.
right, especially in SaaS, the value behind SaaS actually, if I'm sure if you're VC backed, they'd probably look at the usage report because now it's a channel for potential advertisement. There's a lot you can do there with the time spent on your platform. Okay.
Well, it's ultimately stickiness of the
Correct.
product, right? It's like at a certain point when tariffs or something else hits, if your usage is low, like cancellations will be higher because people are just trimming the fat, you
Right.
know?
And we were just talking about this offline of like what's going on in the SaaS
Yeah.
space right now. So, yeah, we did that, and holy cannoli, like the amount of people that signed up, and we were getting on all these demos, or sorry, we weren't getting on demos at the time. It was
Mm-hmm.
like you can immediately sign up on your own. So we started
Hmm.
putting more gates because that's what we do in media, right? When you're doing lead
Mm-hmm.
generation, they always
Mm-hmm.
say like, okay, you got to put more speed bumps in the process. You have to ask more questions in the questionnaire because you're going to weed out the qualified versus unqualified. And that's what we started doing. So what we did to change things up is we started at a 299 cost, like per anybody, right? So we set it pretty high. If you have $300 to
Sure.
spend, whatever. Then we did a cost analysis, and we looked at like our top competitors and what they were pricing, and then put our price point together and said, okay, we're pretty comparable to these platforms in terms of what we
Hmm.
bring to the table. But yeah, we have to come a little bit under to cut through. And then we also have to think of and shift our mentality. And we hadn't figured that out yet. But in doing that cost analysis, we land at 299 to start, and it's a sliding scale.
Mm-hmm.
So those were some things we're like, okay, we're doing pretty well. Like people were happy. We had all these brands come on board. And at the time, I would say we were 80-20, 80% brands, 20% agencies. Um,
Sure.
and we weren't growing.
Hmm.
The coming to Jesus happened 2024, Q1 of, so it was Q4 of 2023, Q1 of 2024 it activated. We sat
Mm-hmm.
there and we realized we were just sitting pretty at like 15K MRR. Okay, like
Hmm.
we had a good amount of usage, sure, but like people were just, it was just it wasn't working. And we
Mm-hmm.
did a usage report and we scraped through our usage and we realized the agencies are using our platform way more than the brands. And we're like, why? And we're like, this doesn't make any sense. And when we took a step back and looked at the psychology, what do we know about brands, Blake? Like, what do we know in terms of how they operate? Take a guess.
They're always going to be optimizing for price, and they're always going to be uh, focused on a certain target customer base.
Okay, see, this is a perfect example that common sense isn't common. No offense to you, Blake. We're family, so I can say this shit to you. No, yes, yes, but also founders and like brands, they wear so many hats for no
Mm,
reason. I mean, for a
Sure.
reason, right? They want to get overhead down as much as possible, but like think about this. So the founder is also the media buyer, is also the person who's who's managing supply chain, who's also doing this, this, and this. And
Mm,
they often founders can't remove themselves from the business, or they have a whole team
sure.
that's doing it that's blowing smoke up the founder's butt. So it's like there's all this right here, and they're wearing so many hats, they don't have the ability to take on another platform
Sure.
unless they have vanity metrics or really cool dashboards that do this for you. Hint, hint, my competitors. I quickly and my co
Mm,
founder quickly realized the reason why our competitors were doing so well is that they were speaking directly to the founders because they were the credit card swipers. But then the
mm,
platform is actually being handed over to the tactician. And that tactician sitting here and going, this is all I get. And there's only a select few on a hand that are good enough for the tactician to go, that's kind of cool. I'll use this. I've never seen this tech before.
mm-hmm,
I named those guys already, right? So then you're
mm-hmm,
sitting here and you're going, oh yeah. Founder goes, I see all these reports. These are great. Go do it. In AdBeacon, we're too tactical. In AdBeacon, we cut through all the bullshit. We cut through all of the reports that just don't make any sense, all the bloatedness, right? So for a founder, it doesn't have value. And for the
mm-hmm,
tactician, it has great value. But the tactician isn't bought in. It's a whole thing. So we
mm-hmm,
said, why don't we make AdBeacon loyal to the agencies and flip it on its head? So we flipped it and said,
mm,
if you put 10 accounts on AdBeacon, it's $1,500 a month, which is $150 per client, fixed.
mm.
It's a 90-day money back guarantee. So in 90 days, you can just take it away. And it was a 12-month program. My MRR doubled. Um,
Wow.
Yeah. They were harder to sell, but people were like, holy shit. And there's no other platform you could be at 150 fixed. And what was really
Mm-hmm,
cool about this too is we made the brands loyal to the agencies, because if the brands churned under the agencies, they had to come back to us and start at 299, and then we'd have to reconnect
mm,
and do things. It's just more difficult. But the reason why we took that
mm-hmm,
loyalty component is because we said, okay, they're the ones using it the most. I can train them. I can build and continue to expand the book. And they're the master users. You're my clientele. And since then,
mm.
we grew so much. So between now and last year at this time, we've grown 151%. It's been
Amazing.
great. We hit profitability this year, which is
Mm-hmm.
incredible. I mean, think
Absolutely. Especially as a bootstrap business. Like
right. We're
that's
not
amazing.
doing insane MRR, but when I talked to Chase, for
Sure.
example, he's like, "You are doing insane MRR for not having any funding." And but anyway, so that was another mistake. And the last mistake I will say is paid media
Tell me
for
more.
SaaS. I never really. It's almost like an ego hit, Blake, because you're like, well, I'm a great media buyer. This is what I've spoken across the world about. Wouldn't you think I'd be able to crack? No, kill me. It was so awful, dude. And I'm grateful we didn't get funding, because we would have blown through so much cash. You just heard me talk about all these iterations, all these things that we've done to change the
Mm-hmm,
construct of AdBeacon to be able to hit and realize this is our ICP. We would have blown through so much cash before understanding that. Also, a lot of people like to
mm-hmm.
take on volume versus quality. So people in SaaS like to take on a volume of customers without a fully baked product. And then what ends up happening
Sure.
is there's high churn, but at least we had use. So now we know what people like and don't like. I don't like that mentality for myself. I want a fully baked product and take it there, and I want a consistent growth, and I didn't want to ruin the reputation on the way up. Kind of like brand.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, that's the carrot chasing thing. The last part is paid media. I realized that it's very difficult to market to marketers.
I mean, you're basically trying to sell gym equipment to someone that already owns a gym. They're like, why would I do that?
Right. And it was difficult. So 90% of our leads come from referrals and from my efforts and networking and building real relationships with people. We only
Mm,
spend a little bit of money on brand, so then all my competitors stop hitting the top because they're coming after us, which is flattering because we're so small
sure.
in comparison. But yeah,
Mm-hmm.
those are some really big lessons we learned very early on.
I appreciate you calling each one of those out, and I think I wanna go back to the identification of your ICP. The interesting thing to me is you speak with so much conviction about the realization that, hey, we need to focus on agencies, and that's a hard shift, right? You said 80% of your client base was brands and 20% were agencies, and so that's a huge pivot for a company to make, especially when you're in the early stages, you're bootstrapped, every dollar counts that's coming through the door, and to say, hey, we're gonna shift our focus away from this group to another group is risky, and so I want you to plant yourself back in the early days as you guys were pulling this framework together, because I can guarantee you rewind back to a year ago, or a year and a half ago, whenever it was, you weren't saying it as clearly as you're saying it now. And so what got you over the hump? Because I think there are founders out there that know something's up, know that they're capped, and know that a change needs to happen, but they're scared. They maybe don't want to even admit that they're scared. And how did you work through that overall decision?
Okay, so you have to also take it a step back. I'm a model, I was a model, and you take rejection a lot. So you go into a casting, they tell you they love you so much, and then you think you got the job, and then you walk out, you never got the job.
Hmm.
Also, payment terms were net 90, so you had to keep working to actually eat. Okay, so
Hmm.
consider that mentality as we start to talk about SaaS and as we start to talk about these things. It's ego when it comes to volume. If at the end of the day there's no growth and then you're sliding backwards, it's the ego.
Hmm.
Retention is the hardest thing. So I felt like we had nothing to lose. Fuck it, let's go. And also,
Mm-hmm.
we had a very polarizing stance already at AdBeacon, and I think it's to our
Sure.
detriment and also to our favor. We have click attribution only. We don't consider view
Hmm.
attribution. This is a big problem. Everybody wants to be on a winning team. Everybody wants to look at their
Hmm.
numbers and say, "Yeah, we're killing it." Click attribution doesn't do that. Click attribution tells you the
Hmm.
truth. It tells you, actually, you ain't hot shit, but it's okay. We're going to start here. We're going to go here. Um,
Hmm.
to answer your question directly, I stopped talking to brands altogether for a full year. I kind of just ignored them. And what I realized about brands is they want something they can't have because they're constantly being pitched.
Hmm.
Agencies are constantly being told what they need instead of really deciding, right? The client tells you use Triple, use Hyros. We already
Hmm.
have a membership. Versus the brand or
Hmm.
versus the agency now goes, we have AdBeacon. It's already baked into your fee. You don't need to worry about it. And the team is fully trained on the platform. Let go of the membership that
Hmm.
you're paying a crap ton of money for. It's our, and we're going
Hmm.
to be the ones using it and making sure that your ads add up at the end of the day to your Shopify, WooCommerce, and BigCommerce store. When I started having those conversations with agency owners, it clicked. And the
Hmm.
way I would describe it out loud, I would always say, "How many times have you heard from your agency that you made this much money on Facebook, but you're looking at your Shopify store, the money you feed families with, and realize that's not the case at all? I could care less about what
Hmm.
Facebook is telling me. I need to know the truth."
Hmm.
Right?
Yes.
So now you hit hard on the issues and then you go, this is the solve, right? Are you happier with pretend numbers? Are you happier with like very obvious proven numbers? That
Hmm.
story resonated with a lot of people. And then agencies really, really love that story too, because now they have the credit behind their work. They are able to see lift. So it translated. So to answer it, we ignored brands and it actually attracted more brands to us. And then we really
Yeah.
focused on agencies and we gave them white glove service. And then we were able to expand within. So,
I like that. I want to keep going with that vein of thought as well too. The the decision to ignore brands was ultimately predicated on, we did this analysis and we're just, fuck it, we're going all in. Like, let's just send it and see what happens. Was it because was there some sort of event that was just saying, hey, we need to change now, or we got to shut this thing down, or it was just a, we're stagnating And this is now the moment to make a change to see how we turn things around
My
or continue to
my
grow
business
things,
partner
I
put
should
a
say.
lot of pressure on me to be profitable. He's the majority putting like money in, right, to the business, and
Hmm.
that was like his thing. It's like we have to be profitable, we have to be profitable, which is like the complete opposite of most SaaS companies. Like when they start, they know they're not going to be profitable for some time. So, and it's also the chasing of the
Mm,
carrot, right? So that was our goal, and we were never going to be there unless we had volume because of dev costs, because of salaries, etc. We had those costs even with a very
sure.
lean team. So we had to figure something out to get our MRR up aggressively. And
Hmm.
again, like the way we price for agencies is a 750 minimum. We are actually used to only start at 1500, which again answers the question down the road, is there anything stopping you from growing even more? That would be one of them. Um,
Yeah.
but imagine I had to fight for 299 every day per person, and now I'm fighting for 1500. That just like no brainer. It might take a little more time, but like no brainer. And then they were signed on for 12
Hmm.
months. Like no brainer. That is the way it needs to
Yeah.
be. And then retention for our agencies was at 100% for 9 months. Like
Hmm.
that was crazy that all of our
That's
yeah.
insane.
So yeah, there was a fuck it mentality for sure. There was like, okay, we see was just like let's test things and see what works. Yeah.
I love the sentiment on focusing on the customer. And I think that's the key in all of this. Like anybody that's listening to this pod, this idea of you're going to hit stagnation points, or better said, plateaus. And those plateaus, you really need to ask yourself, first, are you a want or a need? And then how can I focus in on what the customer want is to maximize the value that I'm providing? Um, before we jump, I want to just ask one question to hear what your perspective is on this. What would your advice be to your earlier self, looking back on everything that you've learned today?
Just keep going. I mean, it's everything's going to work itself out. The thing that I've learned and what I'll tell my younger self is you will learn that you are like a force to be reckoned with as long as you stick to your guns. You will make money no matter what you do. So, whether it's AdBeacon, something else, whatever, make sure that the quality of work you bring to the table is exceptional and not tying your worth or who you are to a brand, to a title. It doesn't matter. You could be literally the trash queen at a garbage dump, but you were going to be the best effing trash queen there is, right? I think that
Hmm.
mentality, knowing that earlier on, uh, we would be 10 times further. Yeah.
You're speaking to my soul there. That is UVU mentality, and
Passionate.
that's how you
Yeah.
win. That's how you win. Phoenix, cousin, familia, it is always great to have you on, and looking forward to more opportunities to connect. Anything else you want to share with the audience before we wrap for today?
Yeah. Just be a good person. That's all you owe to this world. And I hope this brought value to your day. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Thank
Appreciate
you
you.
for having me. It's always an honor.
That's it for this episode of the Scaling Paradox. If this helped cut through the chaos, please send it to another founder or operator that's stuck in it too. If you haven't subscribed yet, let's fix that. New episodes of the Scaling Paradox drop every other Thursday. There's no filler in this podcast, just the real work of scaling past yourself.